Post from NappyBoy419. When did the full weight of the gravity of this pandemic set in for you? Comment from Charyou-Tree. I'm a grad student studying physics. I was scheduled to go to the American Physical Society's March meeting to present my research. Starting March 1st, it's the biggest conference in the world of professional physicists. 10,000 people from all over the world go every year. It's a great opportunity to get noticed and see where your field is going. I had been nervously monitoring the situation for a few weeks, worrying about this new disease. They put out several notices that they were still going forward with the meeting, right up until 3 days before it when they abruptly canceled it. I breathed a sigh of relief, even though I never got the cost of the plane ticket back. A month later I realized that the hypothesis I was going to present was utterly wrong, and have completely revised that section of my thesis to reflect our new understanding. Dodged 2 bullets there. Comment from Alive in Joburg 2. When I got off the train in Penn Station and it was a ghost town. It was absolutely terrifying considering Penn Station is meant to be a central location for people. I'd never been to Penn Station at all hours of the day and night, and there wasn't a bunch of people running for trains, eating, shopping, etc. Manhattan was also eerily quiet beyond some sirens. Comment from iVikingr. When my boss called me into her office and asked me whether I could work from home as a precaution, so that the entire department would not be paralyzed if somebody were infected. This was in March, I believe. I'm still working from home. Comment from username already. I study in a school that's known for not canceling class. The city has been flooded. Lightning storms, blackouts, everything you can think of, and the school was still open. When they said they were switching to online learning, I knew shit was going down. ETA. Almost forgot the teacher protests. Almost every single teacher in the city was protesting and the damn school was still open. Comment from NumericZero. For me it's when the whole thing kicked off, went to food for less and almost everything was gone. This was at the start of the water toilet paper craze. I'll never forget this random old guy next to me say, "We will get past this and everything will go back to normal." Probably one of the most real moments in my life. Comment from I'm Not Alone You Are. A few weeks into lockdown my distant cousin was in the news. A very young man who died from COVID. I wasn't close to him at all, but am close to his sister. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together until she called crying about how much unwanted attention she was getting from the media. A few weeks later my uncle died from COVID. Found his name online in a death notice. I loved him dearly. He and I were the black sheep of the family. No one in my family who lives nearby arranged any sort of funeral or wake, although that's understandable given the pandemic, or proper obituary, or worse, claimed him or his ashes. I'm across the country, and high risk, so I can't. It's been several months. I still cannot collect his ashes, and his next of kin won't. I feel I've failed him, but also terrified for my life and my family. If I were to rectify the situation and cross the country for his ashes, I feel selfish for not going. I feel selfish for wanting to go. I never got to say goodbye. I love you, Uncle. I wish I could have held your hand so you weren't alone in your last days. And so you wouldn't still be alone now. XOXO. I swear I'm first in line for a vaccine and plane ride to get you. Once I can track you down. Comment from sparklingdinosaur. Pretty much from the get-go. I had just gotten to an island in the middle of the Pacific from being on a boat for a while. Borders were closing on us fast. The local government wanted all outsiders out now, and we had to make very important decisions very quickly. It felt like choosing your starting position in a zombie apocalypse or dystopian future game. But IRL. Comment from TaterThotsandRavioli. My mom is a nurse at the hospital where COVID patients are treated. She's a diabetic specialist, but the wards are so overcrowded with COVID patients she was forced to help treat them. I say treat because COVID patients are being transferred from COVID wards to normal wards, so the spread was uncontainable due to higher-ups' decisions. There were initially 12 patients. Yesterday they counted 97 in the space of a few days. She came home crying and writing her resignation letter because of the sheer demand and pressure she is under. She's terrified, especially being in her 40s and with my dad having diabetes, DVT, asthma and other health conditions. She's terrified and I never want to see her cry like that again. Comment from throwaway 36644 JHGJ. I run past a hospital. Behind is a fenced-off area for initial screening. And behind that, refrigerator trucks. Very early on, I saw a line of 7 to 10 gurneys, bodies wrapped, and 2 people in hazmat suits lifting a wrapped body into a truck with fog escaping. SoCal. This was late March. Comment from VeryAgitatedEngineer. I was a live audio engineer. I mixed concerts and events for a living. I'll never forget that weekend. We were doing one last show. I think it was the 16th-17th of March. We were in Melbourne, FL, tearing down a PA when my boss got the first call. Show cancelled. The other company on site had a guy getting the same phone calls. We finished tearing down, and he got another call. All events from that client cancelled. We were on our way to set up what would become our final show. 2 more phone calls. More cancellations for the year. We get to the event. We set up. The band shows up. They tell us their gigs were all completely cancelled. There goes more work. By the end of the show, we got I think 6 more phone calls for cancels. I had 1 festival left. Literally 1 3-day event left for work on my calendar for the year. I went from full calendar from March to January to just 1 festival. I denied it would get cancelled too. It was too big to cancel. I got the last phone call from the promoter. The festival got canned. From there, I had absolutely no income for the foreseeable future. Still don't. I never received a stimulus check. I wasn't eligible for unemployment. Florida. Need I say more? I pay my taxes. I do things by the book. I didn't get a red cent from the government to this day. Neither did most of us live audio engineers. The gig worker economy was demolished by this virus, and the government couldn't even piss on the flames for us. Every single event or concert you have ever been to with lights, speakers, or talent, one of us is in the corner somewhere making it all happen. We bust our ass as live audio engineers so people can have fun. It's stressful, draining, long days, heavy equipment, and a lot of technical stuff. But that's what we do. And we love it, and we can't do it anytime soon. To no fault of our own. It was how I paid my bills. We are the reason you get to feel the bass, dance to the lights, and see your favorite band or artist. The entire weight of the show aside from promotion and performing is on us. Now my savings are essentially gone and I'm gripping for dear life to get bills paid and eat. I've only eaten once a day for the past couples months, trying to stretch out what's in the fridge for as long as possible. So yeah, it wasn't so much when I lost all my gigs that it hit me. It hit me when I realized I lost all my gigs and my government doesn't give a good goddamn if I live or die or starve through this. Comment from Codeine. I was out camping with my friends on spring break on day 3. I get the notification that 2 NBA players, Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, have contracted the coronavirus 5 minutes after this announcement. The NBA announced the suspension of the season. My friends and I proceeded to watch the dominoes fall as everything began shutting down, postponing, and then we get an extra week of spring break, and then one of the shittiest educations we all have ever received. Comment from SigourneyReaver. It was a combination of things. First, I watched the crazy videos that were coming out of Wuhan. And it seemed crazy and unbelievable. Then there were the ones in Italy. But it still felt like something that was happening somewhere else, and it wouldn't necessarily happen locally. But then, I started noticing the threads on Reddit that were starting to pop up out of tourism hotspots like Vegas, talking about how people were getting sick and piling up in hospitals and it wasn't yet making the papers. Stories about people feeling off their feed one day and in the ICU by the end of the week. That's when it started being like, holy shit, what's going on? Then the news stories started coming out in California. But what really sealed the deal? When my friends who work in the medical sciences started freaking out and locking down. We're talking rational, non-dramatic people who clearly believe in the power of Western medicine and statistics. The crazy stories were coming out in January, and by February, my medical sciences friends were like, fuck that, see you next year. They were definitely ahead of the curve. When the guy whose entire job is managing medical incidents data starts refusing to go outside, you follow his lead. Comment from Brapo68. I had a few times. 1. When this went from feeling like I was scamming the system by being able to work from home, to honing my working from home skills because this is not a 1-month vacation at home. 2. When I realized it's been so long since I have seen some of my friends, that we have actually grown apart. 3. It went from raising a baby and a toddler during a pandemic to raising 2 toddlers during the pandemic. 4. Watching movies I have seen a million times to only be envious of their gathering together. All the while wondering when the next time will be that I can do that. 5. When I looked at my hours logged into Call of Duty and was like, dude, my high school self would be envious of my playtime. Each of these had a different type of resignation for me, in which I really noticed the severity of the pandemic. Comment from DaleYuzuki. On March 11th, in the United States, a few things happened on the same day. * Utah Jazz player Rudy Gobert tests positive a few minutes before a game is to begin. The entire NBA season is cancelled the following day. * Tom Hanks announces a positive test result from Australia. * The president that evening announces a Europe travel ban to take effect in a few days. I had been following the news very closely from late December, and recently wrote a book about the biology and biotechnology of COVID-19 diagnostics, therapeutics and vaccines. Comment from Kikuyu 2020. Today, my housemate was going to spend his Christmas vacation with his girlfriend in another state. He just told me last week and he was really excited about it. Today he came into my room and said he wasn't going. I asked him if they had a fight. He said no, she had just died of COVID. She didn't even have it last week. I just feel numb. How could this happen so fast? Comment from anonymous horny guy _ In March, when the WHO, World Health Organization, announced it as a pandemic, I thought to myself, oh shit, this is really serious. I'm baffled at how people treat it now though. With millions of cases and nearly 1.5 million recorded deaths total. Stay safe, please. Comment from default username 001. Very early in the year, I teach Chinese kids on the internet. They were getting locked down and telling me they hadn't left the house in weeks, so I started following the story. I was the crazy guy in like January, telling everyone this was coming and they better pay attention, and it wasn't just going to be a 2-week shutdown. Told you so. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe.